Voices Radio.
Right, good afternoon to listeners and hello to anyone watching on the YouTube channel. My name is Benedict Gibbon, this is Voices Radio, and I'm joined today by the sensational Mr. Mikey Bharj. Welcome, sir. How you doing?
Hello, and hello, your listeners. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Pleasure, man, as always. So for those of you who don't know a little bit more about Mikey, Mikey is not even a triple threat, a multi-talented creative individual. He is a actor. He has had parts in some big Hollywood films, including Terminator Dark Fate. He is a writer, director, composer of the most recent work, Neon Tank, which is now available on Amazon Prime streaming video. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and also a little bit about Mikey, how you started getting into filmmaking from sort of grassroots level, and how you got to where you are, and what we're looking at from you in the future. So let's start off by talking about Neon Tank. So give us. This is where in the YouTube video we're going to play a bit of a trailer. So we'll have that in post. So
Amazon Prime Video. In the future, reincarnation is a scientific fact.
This technology, how does it work?
He was a hacker with a deadly secret.
Who are you? Where does the money come from? Where do you go at night, Stick?
I could ask you the same question.
And a past that would stop at nothing to see him dead.
They're hacking into my system, they're stealing my secrets. They're gonna kill my business.
Now, he has no choice but to fight back. Neon Tank, available now on Amazon Prime Video.
wasn't that amazing?
Yeah. Wasn't that amazing?
Wow,
thank you so much for showing that clip. I really appreciate that.
Pleasure. And your voice in this film is very, very different.
I know, I sound like a Mary Poppins. I sound English now, but people...
Like an octave lower as well.
Well, I was sounding a little bit more like that in the movie. I was a little bit more cool. But this is my normal voice. It sounds like that. Are you right with it?
So give us a synopsis of Neon Tank.
Neon Tank is set in the future in a world where reincarnation is a scientific fact. So when you die, your unique DNA code is transferred to the next available animal on the planet locally. In the movie, I play a hacker, Styx, who sells souls on the black market to the 1%.
Fantastic. And so, what may get you inspiration for this plot line?
The storyline, there's many writing exercises that you can do. There's one that really stuck with me, which is write a movie as if you had unlimited budget. And that's what I did for Neon Tank. And that's why my head was hurting for the last 4 years, trying to make it happen.
And that is effectively what you did. You had a very limited budget, and you completely self-financed.
Yeah.
Which is obviously a necessity for a lot of first-time filmmakers.
Yeah.
But you did it. You pulled it off, and you got a lot of people involved. Really, really top quality people. Is there anyone you'd like to thank in particular?
Well, you, of course, Ben, because I've got to say, out of all the actors, you were one of the actors that were you've had such an extensive period. You've been through, you've been on the West End. You've done. We'll get into that. But you've done so much. So you were really like a strong actor that came to the team, and I was really happy to work with you. I'll be honest with you. And when you go watch the movie, you're going to see Ben's performance. You'll see how he's taken a character that the character's not a villain, but he's made it really intelligent. He made it really cool and sophisticated, and I was blown away by his acting.
You are a flatterer, and you were going to go far in the entertainment business.
Woo!
And apart from that, I mean, you had plenty of cast and crew who all came together under such a limited budget. How did you achieve that?
Well, look, here's the craziest thing. I reached out to so many different actors online, and they were so generous because they were willing to work with no money. I mean, I paid their expenses, but they heard the script and they were like, yo, this sounds interesting. Yeah. I'm going to be for it. and they literally put their time and their energy into it. So God bless all of them. We had like so many cool actors. It's a multi-diverse cast. That's what people have been saying to me as well. They've like, you've had actors from so many different accents and dialects and different nationalities. I'm really blown away by the talent that's come forth from all around the world.
I think it was a very representative cast and very, very diverse, which is one of the really cool things about the movie. Was that a conscious decision?
That's a good question. I think a little bit, but not like, oh, I feel like I'm Mr. Diversity. I need to cast some actors for diversity. I just think that's the world that we live in. Yeah. And especially if you live in London, there's so many different faces and nooks and crannies, and you go to one area and it's a completely different nationality. That's just reality for me. So I thought, if we're going to set the film in Soho, you're going to have a whole plethora of different faces.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, you've succeeded in that front marvelously. I mean, just to get back to those who haven't seen the movie yet. So you wrote the movie, you directed the movie,
correct?
You scored the movie.
Yes, don't hate me.
You edited the movie.
I'm a bastard. Yes.
The VFX for the movie.
Yep.
Anything I'm missing here?
Producing or something, like putting people together.
Yeah, that's right. I You're like the Prince of movie production.
Well, there we go.
Playing all the parts yourself.
There we go. But I didn't do the props. My friend Jacob Clubs did the props, and we've had a few different pieces. But I hear what you're saying. The reason why I did that, though, to be honest with you, dude, is not because I'm trying to be Mr. Fix It All, is because it's cheaper to hire me to do all those parts than it was to hire anybody else. So the movie budget that was $3,000 to make something that was quite remarkable, how did you pull that off, is because I hired me as the main actor.
Yep.
Therefore, I could do multiple scenes, and I wasn't. There was no laws we're breaking. Basically, I was willing to do reshoots galore, and then I became the video effects editor. And to be fair, I didn't do the coloring. We've handed that off to some other people. Go look at the credits. There's people that did the coloring and whatnot. But I did a lot of the visual effects myself on After Effects.
That was something I noticed, actually. One of the first things I noticed seeing the final cut after, obviously we did some ADR, which to the non sort of people familiar with this term is automatic dialogue replacement.
Oh God, do you remember that?
So we had to for some scenes, the original dialogue for the video was not quite there. So you have to go back in the studio setting and try and match lip movements and replace the dialogue so that it's usable for the film. And that the colouring was something that I really noticed from that. So when I saw the final cut was massively different. It makes it look so consistent. It's for me. I've never really been behind sort of the scenes that much in a production of a film. So that was a really interesting experience to see how much that particular job, the colouring, makes it consistent from scene to scene.
Yeah.
It's like mastering for music. It's you're putting like almost a filter over the whole thing, which makes it seem cohesive and coherent.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. And I remember showing you the original version, and I was going to release everything as it was, but people like you came in and were like, could you make the audio better? And I didn't want to ask you a lot to come back. I felt really bad. Like, can you come back and redub the audio? But you were such a gentleman about it, and you were so like, look, I will do whatever I can do, Mike, to make sure that this project is a success. Yeah. And I really respect you for that. And you were one of the, as I said, you were one of the first actors that came through and were like, yep, I'll do whatever it takes to come through. And you came through and I showed you little bits of the movie and you were like, you didn't know what to expect. And I really respect that about you, because you were kind of like, it could have been anything, you know, and thank God it was something that was, you were proud of to, act in, and I you got to watch the movie, as I say, because Ben's plays a masterful villain.
This is not supposed to be all about me, but but I appreciate it.
Yeah,
no, I mean,
but the ADR is one of those things where it made the movie better. That I redubbed all my lines basically. I redubbed every single line in the movie
because your original American accent was a little bit inconsistent.
Very inconsistent. And do you know why I felt really bad? Because Ben's always given me credit as someone who can do accents. So, and everyone knows me as someone who could do accents. But in this movie, my accent kept changing so much. And then, do you know what I did? I was like, I have to make it consistent. and I redubbed the monologues. I redubbed every single line. It took 3 days, but I worked out the voice, and the voice was gravelly. Down here, according to society, I'm just a degenerate hacker working illegally, wasted on synthetic drugs. Maybe they're right.
That's
that voice.
amazing. I mean, the first time I heard it, I thought he's processed this in some way. He's pitched it down or something. I've never heard you do that, but amazing versatility you have with that voice. And,
That's the
and
morning.
I've got to say, I did ADR for a couple of scenes, and it took us a good few hours. So it's for you to have redubbed your entire sort of vocal performance.
Yeah.
That's an incredible feat to achieve in 3 days.
That's it. And if you watch the original movie, there was actually, my character has actually loads of lines. And you remember when we were doing our scene, you were like, Mikey, you cut out all your lines. So you don't have, so in the movie, basically, all I do, even though I'm in it from the start to finish, it's a lot of nods and a couple of lines. And I get to say like a couple of like offhanded comments, but all the actors like Ben and Gomez, Garcia and Nathan Thompson and Jim Ewan, they had pages and pages of dialogue. So the reason why I did that is because I watched an interview on Jonathan Ross with Sylvester Stallone, he kind of talks like that. And Sylvester Stallone was talking about Rambo and how the movie of Rambo was actually 4 hours, and Rambo had loads of lines, and then he worked out that it was more interesting to cut away with Rambo's lines and just have everybody else's lines, so the character looks a bit more moody, a bit more mysterious, and the audience can kind of put themselves in that character more. So that's what I did for Styx. I took away all he had loads of more sassy lines, and he was a bit more insecure. I took that all away and made him a little bit more of a blank slate.
So you're saying you're making by giving the character less exposition.
Yes.
You're giving the audience more imagination room to work with.
There you go.
And that's is that sort of are you looking at a Styx franchise like Stallone did with Rambo? Or?
Oh, there you go. But I can't do that because Styx is dead. So, hate to ruin them. Oh God, I've ruined it. Oh God,
Spoilers.
oh God, I spoiled it. Oh God, I just spoiled my own movie.
Okay, we're gonna beep that one out. In the,
See how it happens. Oh my God.
Yeah, this is the joy of live recording, live interviewing.
There we go. Well, guys, but it's see how it happens. That's the thing. You won't expect that. That's all right. I don't mind. Because if someone told me that a character died in a movie, I would be like, I wouldn't be upset. I would be like, okay, how does it play out? If you watch the new Superman and they're like, Superman dies in it.
Yeah.
Superman lives. Like.
Yeah. We know that Styx lives. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, exactly.
People have come up to me and they're going, would you make a Neon Tank 2? And I thought about a couple of things that I would do, but I think I'll bring it back to Stephen King. Stephen King made a saying called "kill your darlings."
Yes.
Yeah, always kill. And George R. Martin's like that. He kills his characters, build up a character, make him great, him or her great, or they great. 2022, kill them.
There's a film called "Kill Your Darlings," isn't it?
Oh, is it?
I think so.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
But obviously, there's lots of films based on Stephen King. I'm not sure if that's got anything to do with it.
No.
Bit of a random tangent there. That's very interesting. So what do you? I mean, we came originally to talk about sort of the independent process of making movies, and I think those are some facets which I think people will find interesting. The ADR process, not something that's discussed very much. I heard this story once. I don't think I've told you this before. There was an interview with there's this guy who was a junior engineer working in a studio doing ADR for Francis Ford Coppola or Marlon Brando's lines for The Godfather, I think it was. Right. And so the lead engineer walks out of the studio for a bit, and Marlon Brando's sitting in the booth, and this 19-year-old kid or whatever he was sitting there with Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando goes, "Some people say that I mumble." And this kid, what's he supposed to do? This is Marlon Brando, right? So, what am I supposed to say to that?
Mumble.
Exactly like that. He says, "Yeah, I guess that's true. Some people do say that." He says, "It's true. I do mumble, and I do it because when I'm shooting the scene, I don't know what order the scenes are going to be in. I don't know what the director's going to do.
It's good, Marlon Brando.
So he did it deliberately, and he made very small lip movements like this.
small lip movements.
So that he could go back later and match the lip movements much more easily in the ADR, which is something that I utterly failed to do when we were shooting.
It's hard, isn't it? When you got to go back and it's just like, damn, what did I do? It's trained me as an actor now. There's a certain way, if I'm going to act again, which I will, on the next project, I'm going to approach it in a different way than I've done before.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be very reflective of how it's going to come out in the edit.
I think
less is more.
All of this has been a learning experience for us, as you know, we're all fairly new to the world of sort of filmmaking.
Yeah.
And as an actor, I mean, that's definitely taught me that, you know, you have to be conscious of the post-production process as well. It's not just about learning your lines, creating your character, going in and giving the performance. There's a lot more to think about than that. And as the director and taking all these other roles, I mean, I can't imagine the amount of things that must have been on your mind and have to juggle. Yeah. Do you think? I mean, knowing now what you know, having learned from this process, do you think that you would want to do it again, taking up all of these roles, or is it just purely a necessity thing? You think you would prefer to sort of specialize?
That's the best question I've ever heard. All right, so go back to question one. Would I do it the same way I did before? No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take on all the roles. The only reason I did that was, like you said, because of necessity. I think you have to collaborate with the people that are best for the job moving forward. So get the DOP, get the sound engineer. As you're starting out, I think it's better to play all the roles, because now I know the language of how to talk to somebody and what they've went through. Because some people go like, make some props and bring it to me next week. And it's like, have you ever made props before? You know, glue takes 6 hours to dry. Have you ever, like, you know, sound producing, you got to mixer it. You got, before I was like, oh yeah, mix and master it for me. You're like, man, I've got to put this on different speakers. I got to test it on my car and the laptop. So I've understood this now. So what I would do now is still play the visionary role, still play the director role, still be grassroots, still be on the battlefield, still act in it, because that's the dream. Yeah. However, I would outsource it to various people and give them a very clear brief, which would be like, literally, this is how I would do it.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, all those outsourced people, they appreciate that, dude. Yeah. Because instead of getting like, I want it fun. I don't give them a brief like that. I give them a brief like, yo, crop this, clip that, put that there, to the left, to the right.
Yeah, absolutely. It's. I mean, as somebody who makes records or has made a lot of records in the past, and you deal with creative individuals,
right?
If they've just got a very vague idea of what they want, it's very difficult to satisfy that need.
Right.
So it's always very much appreciated when somebody is just very clear about what they want, gives concise instructions.
Yeah. And they appreciate that, honestly. And I think this has opened up the door, because most people think you have to work with people that are in your area or whatnot. I'm working with these people. There's some of them in Romania, Bangladesh, I don't want to name random places, but they're all over the world. Some are in the USA or whatever. It doesn't matter, but they're people that I would never have thought to approach to, who I never had access to. And I'm approaching them on, Fiverr.
Yeah, of course.
So this is some gems I'm going to drop. Like, Fiverr is a great place. If you know what you want specifically, you can outsource it. I wouldn't outsource great bits of pieces to them, but I would, if you're a filmmaker, I would edit my scenes myself. I'm the main editor, but then I would send it to them and be like, can you color grade this?
So for those who don't know, Fiverr, 2 R's, is Fiverr.com is a website where you can essentially find someone to do a job, an outsourced job, and the concept is it starts from a price of $5, so $5, and then they have gradually increasing levels of service, but you can find absolutely anything on there. I mean, you can find people to do sort of audio work, film work, graphic design.
There's some talented people up there.
Really are.
Graphic designers, logo makers, sound engineers, whatever you name it. You can have so you can make a project out there, and whatever you're thinking, you can go do it. And if you need some professionals to come and help bits and pieces, contractors to come in and just help you on the project, you can go do that for like the max I've spent on there is like a couple £100 max, and that was a very talented person, so it's out there. Yeah,
it's amazing these tools that are available to you using Fiverr, and obviously now with things like online marketing and online distribution. As we've already said, the film is currently streaming on Amazon Prime Video.
Yes, Neon Tank.
Check
Haven't said that enough. Yeah, so they're like, what movie?
If you haven't seen it, buy it right now.
Neon Tank, you're gonna love it.
But these digital distribution channels and tools were not available to people even 10 years ago, certainly. So this is a whole new sort of horizon of grassroots filmmaking that we're encountering now. A whole new world of possibilities. I mean, you look at the early films of people like Peter Jackson, for example,
right?
And obviously he didn't have digital cameras and couldn't do VFX the way that you could do it sitting in a computer. So in many ways, I suppose it was much harder back in the day.
Yeah, completely.
Much harder. But, but it was also the great thing about what you've got is it allows somebody to take almost no budget and turn it into something from nothing.
Yes. This is crazy. This is a crazy thing, and it's weird it's happened like that, and there's so many actors involved in this whole piece, and we're on Amazon Prime now. And this is what I want to talk about, the self-distribution thing, because a lot of people write scripts with the hope of selling it to Netflix. Right. I speak to a lot of filmmakers right now, and they're like, I'm going to write my script. I'm like, what are you going to do with it? I'm going to sell it. That's the end of it.
Yeah.
And I took the different approach, was like, how can I get this on like a multi-platform? And Amazon was the only way that you could do that. And I had to go through the hoops. But I'm telling you right now, whoever's listening to this, you can go do it too, literally. You can literally go make your film. There's obviously steps you got to do, but self-distribution is the way, I think.
That's very encouraging for us.
But you've got to market it yourself, though. That's the only downside.
Well, it's you've learned lots of skills along the way. I mean, did you know anything about VFX design beforehand?
Nope.
Did you know anything about ADR beforehand?
Nope.
Did you know anything about set design beforehand?
9.
I mean, exactly. You've picked up these skills.
Mine thrown.
And especially as a director, I think you must have, you must by necessity have some understanding of all these little bits in order to get the right people to do the jobs.
There we go.
Because how are you going to distinguish or interview a candidate for a job as a DOP or as a sound engineer, a re-recording mixer, etc., if you don't have an understanding of what that job entails?
Thank God. That's what Neon Tank, I know it's a movie, but for me, it was actually my university into filmmaking. Yeah. I think that is an embodiment of just learning like the ropes, what to do. Directing is decision making. And decision making, like, you got to make a decision now because the money's like, we've ordered the truck, but it's raining. And we want to film a garden scene, but it's raining. We only got the actors here for 2 hours. What do you do? Most people would buckle under the pressure, cancel the day, waste the money, or even cancel the film. They'd be like, oh, the sun's not shining. I wanted a sun scene, so the film's off. They would literally do that. But in Neon Tank, it had to be like, okay, we're going to do an indoor scene.
We had several niggles in production.
Absolutely.
Which we had to just work around.
Mate, do you remember the scene? When you watch the movie Neon Tank, me and Ben are in a great scene where we were filmed in Adventure Bar.
Yeah, that's right.
It was a chain of bars, but you'll see them if you go to London and you go to Clapham Common or I can't remember the other places.
Soho.
Soho.
We shot.
It was in Soho, but there's loads of them. It's like Tonight at Josephine's and all these different places. They've got like a neon club vibe. They're very beautiful bars, cocktail bars. A friend of mine was working, Simon Paris, wherever he's doing now. I think he was at the Edinburgh Fringe. Anyway, Big up Simon Paris. He was working there, and he basically hooked me up with this club, and we went in there and we filmed this whole set. The only problem is that we had to be out by 4:30 because that's when they said it. So this is what I'm saying. This independent filmmaking, mate, the reason why the scene's the way it is because we only had 3 hours, and the money was running out, and we had to do what we had to do, really.
Yeah.
Didn't we?
Well, it's, I mean, the thing with the audio, I mean, we if we're looking back, and if we could have the time again, we probably would have checked the audio at the time.
Absolutely.
To make sure that it wasn't affected by, I think it was air conditioning hum we had.
Yeah,
and things like that going on in the background.
Yeah.
I mean, these are things that, you know, in the future, you're going forward, you're going to think, right, let's think about that. Oh, turn the AC off.
100%. Literally, when I walk in a venue now, I'm like, where's the AC?
Yeah.
Excuse me? The AC, that's going to be... Because you can't even hear it in real life, but on the camera, you know you're going to hear it. Yeah. I'll come in there straight away, like, where's the sockets? Where's this? Where's that? where, you know.
And that's the sort of thing I don't think... I mean, I didn't go to film... Neither of us went to film school. No. But I imagine those are the sorts of things that probably film school probably teaches you about in theory, but in practice, you know, you're never ever going to forget these things because it's not just something you've learned by rote. This is what you've got to do. You're going to remember the inconvenience that it caused you and the cost of putting it right the first time, and you're never going to make that mistake again.
I think you definitely have to go make a film, because I didn't go to film school, but I went to uni, and, you know, you watch your YouTube videos, whatever. I think that goes all out the window until you actually do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the experience that we had. We like literally went through it, the whole film thing. And you know me, I was never going to like quit the production. I was like, we're going through to the end.
Eisenhower said, no battle plan survives contact with the enemy.
Say that again?
No battle plan survives contact with the enemy.
Okay.
So it's like, you know, you can plan things out as much as you like, but then when you actually jump into the fray and things start to begin,
I'm with you.
There's always going to be something that's not
out the window.
Yeah, you're going to have to sort of improvise on the fly.
So this is the real test. When you're a filmmaker or when you're on the set, like we were, things are going to go out the window, guaranteed. It's what you do when they go out the window. That is what you are.
Yeah,
that's what it is basically.
The perseverance, the sort of sense of.
When the chips are down, basically.
Yeah.
What are you? Because everyone could act like a winner. If I put like $500 chips in front of your hand, we can all act like the big man. But what happens when the $500 chips are taken away? Do you still act like the big man? There you go. And if you can, then you're fine. You're going to be fine forever.
Also, I think the fact that you've done all this on such a, unbelievably modest budget. I mean, I've no idea how you did it, and I know most of the process of what you've done, but I cannot believe that you've done such a job on a tiny budget. I mean, and you say that this film was your sort of film school.
Yeah.
But it doesn't come off like that. It doesn't. I mean, you look at the reviews we've had so far, and you look at the responses I've heard from people who've watched it. Friends of mine. Who don't even know you, or some people who don't even know either of us. I've heard people saying, you know, this is a great film. It just stands up on its own as a great piece of work.
Oh, that's fantastic. Like, people have come out of the woodworks and they've been like, do you know who likes it a lot? A lot of art students. Yeah. And people who do fine art and things like that, they've been finding it as very free and like inspirational. To you know, that's the people that have been really digging it a lot, like film students and art. They get it completely, like. And it is arty, but I would hesitate to describe it as an art film. No, it's not an art film. Like, no. I wouldn't want to describe it like that. Like, oh, it's just me with the bag and I'm just coming. No, it's not an art film, guys. Like, it's a sci-fi movie. Yeah. It's actually, do you know what kind of movie it is? It's a film noir. Film noir. It's a film. Yeah. It's a film noir. That's right. It's set in a sort of futuristic setting. Futuristic setting. You've got a character who, you know, you're in his internal monologue. It's decision making. It's, why do I feel like this, and what do I do, and why hasn't she called me? Did you feel that as you sort of learning these things and as you went through it, did you feel like that you were developing a sort of personal style to the way you approach things? What, forever? No, just you know, from, because I watched the movie a few times now, and I think, for instance, one of the things that really stands out to me is your creative use of cuts and edits. Yep. And
In some places that might be to sort of
Mask,
fix
fix things,
problems,
No,
but
real.
also I think it works really creatively and it's very different. It's not so much like a sitcom sort of style filming where you've got complete attention on the characters.
Yeah.
You're sort of emphasizing points with clips without spoiling any plot details, to pictures of bugs or
I was thinking of that scene. I was literally thinking of that scene with the Z guy, right? Yeah. So you got the edit cuts, basically, not music video style, but it will make you trying to bring you in the atmosphere and the world building.
It's quite frenetic, actually. It's a lot of energy to it. You certainly couldn't be accused of being a boring film. It's very, very intense.
That's good. I like that. I like intense that's really good. Because someone said to me as well, was like, whether they think about it, because look, I'll be honest, it's $3,000, it's a low budget movie. However, you won't feel like it's that because the story keeps going. And I think that's a couple of people said to me, they're like, man, the flow kept going and you're invested in the character as it goes along.
And it's not a long film.
No.
What's the running time in total?
Oh, it's weird. I wanted to go on longer, but it's like 45 minutes, one of them sort of things.
But it's not quite a short film.
No,
it's not quite what you'd call a feature, but it does work as a single
standalone,
piece.
Like an episode or something like that. I don't want to say episode. It's just like a TV movie or whatever you want to call it.
It's almost like a filmed play.
Yeah, exactly, like a play.
Yeah,
literally, like it is, because when you watch the film, it's a 3-act structure. So no one's gonna feel like I hate that word short film, because sometimes short films, they will literally make something for 5, 10, 15 minutes and they'll leave you on a cliffhanger. Yeah, it's like a teaser, and they're like, "We're not really getting it." I go through all the nits and gritties of the character. He has his arc. We have the 3-act structure. There could be more, but that's like sequels. I think
if you look at in terms of like literature, I think short films are what I would describe as more like poetry. There's usually like a conceit or a sort of general,
like The Man in the Sea or something like that.
Them.
Old Man in the Sea,
which is very much self-contained. And then you've got your novels, which are your sort of like your full-length feature films, which are obviously much longer. And I think Neon Tank is more of a short story type thing.
Absolutely, because you can take that and adapt that and make that. Because honestly, if I had like unlimited budget, I would have done some extra scenes with you. I would have done a scene with you and, your life going on. Like, what are you up to? I would have done a scene with the love interest, Ivy. Like, what is she up to?
Yeah.
I would have done a bit more about the hitman. Like, how does he, him psyching himself up to do what he has to do? There would have been so much more extra scenes, which would have made an extra half an hour. Do you get it? So I could have done like a literally scene with you, Ben, like literally 10 minutes of you getting ready to meet me and what he's up to. So we could have done that easily. But it's just more money, man.
Isn't it interesting that it's like if you had that budget and you attempted to do that, is that extravagance? Does that serve the plot? Does it serve the film?
It wasn't necessary.
Wasn't necessary.
No,
you're
but
right.
It would have just made people feel a little bit better because just conventionality sort of thing, like, oh, a film's got to be this long and da-da-da-da. But it didn't serve the story. I felt it was just best to keep it going.
Yeah, and the primary purpose of a film is to entertain.
Yeah,
surely.
Yeah,
well, at least this kind of film.
Yeah.
Not obviously you've got documentaries and educational films, but no, and it entertains without being long-winded. I think that's the thing.
Yeah, and I back to the editing. I think that is. Because I edited a lot of music videos before that. I was doing a lot of music videos for High Focus and all these different hip hop artists and stuff like that. I think I've done a new one now. You can see it for Ono Capono. It's online now.
More plugging?
More plugs. Because this is a music loving audience. But I think that's why I put in the editing style from the music video to kind of clean up the holes and the messes, but it helped the story flow. Like, you're just there. You can't literally think of anything else because I've set up the next scene for you to think about.
Absolutely.
So you can't think about, oh, how did we film that? You're ready on to the next scenario.
I'm going to take it back a step and just sort of think about the sort of... We've talked about the conception of the idea that you had from the writing exercise, but did you storyboard, and did you use sort of these conventional sort of... I say conventional, but these sort of tools of filmmaking. Did you sort of plan things out quite meticulously, or do you think you wrote the script and then you very much sort of went from there quite freely?
Yeah, so when the script was written, always write the script, because all I was doing is adapting from the script. So me as the writer ended. I was now an adapter.
Yeah.
If that made it, that sounds a bit weird, but that's what it is. That's why you always should write a script, because then you don't have to make decisions. You just have to be like, in the script, it said black boots. The black boots stomp down the street. So all I have to do as a producer is go,
sorry,
where is the black boots? And do I have black boots? Does that make any sense?
Yes. So you have to. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought.
Yeah, I've lost my train of thought as well. I've still got black boots.
Boots.
Ladies and gentlemen, someone walked in the room.
This is a hazard.
So we've all gone a bit lost.
Black boots.
Black boots.
Black boots. Anyway, so the I think we're sort of got to start wrapping up now.
Yeah.
So I think we'll just we'll
don't end it on black boots.
We're not going to end on black boots. I think we're just going to.
Someone's just listening. Like, what are these lads talking about? We're talking about Neon Tank.
Neon Tank. I'm in the video on YouTube. I'm gonna pop another little clip in here of a scene between myself and Mikey.
Oh, that's excellent.
Just a little.
He's good. Ben is good. No, I want to big him up, mate. Because he's such a nice guy when you hear him on the radio. But because I love playing villains as well. That's part of me. I like my character's an anti-hero. He's a bit of he's in the fence, but Ben played this sort of like really intelligent, quite charming. It's kind of like the devil in a little way. Because you had the red jacket on, dude.
Yeah,
Where'd you get that jacket from? That was gorgeous, man.
I can't remember, but I was given quite specific styling instructions.
Yeah, this is from my sister. So remember this is what we were talking about. You were saying, did I plan the movie meticulously? It was reverse engineering.
Yeah.
So the script was written, and then I had to reverse engineer. I got my sister to do the costume, and she called you up.
She gave me a sort of a sheet for the costume. She said, you need to provide your own costume, but here's what we want. So
but you kind of came up with your bits and pieces how he should, because I didn't know what you were doing. You kind of like, yeah, Mike, I got it. Yeah, Mike, I got it. I was like, I know he's got it, because I kind of like, I called you up for that role, because this is the thing. When Ben was playing that role, I couldn't find anyone to play that role. That was the last person that I had to cast, and I was like, who's gonna play this? Like, who's gonna play this character? Like, how? I don't know what to do. And then it just clicked, and it was just so right. It was just so right.
Well, you've been very complimentary. Let's just I'm going to pop that scene in right here.
Cool.
So, this technology, how does it work?
I don't know.
What the fuck do you mean you don't know?
I don't know. I didn't build the fucking thing, did I?
Did you find him?
Yeah.
What is he?
I don't know. But you'll see.
Bring him to me.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be that easy. I'm going to need a little something in return.
Wasn't that amazing?
That was fantastic. Hey.
So yeah, just to wrap up. So this has been Voices Radio. I'm Benedict Gibbon. This is Mikey Bharj.
Yes.
Neon Tank is available now on Amazon Prime Video. So please go and watch it. Support independent cinema. I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about the process of independent cinema through Mr. Mikey Bharj.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. God bless.
Do you want to shout out for your social media channels and things?
Yes, I've just literally started a TikTok. It's got like 30,000 followers at the moment. It's Mikey Movie Maker. On TikTok, I'm giving all advice on how to like make movies and everything I've done. I'm being really transparent on where I've got all my information from. So check Mikey Movie Maker if you want to make independent, low budget movies. And also check me on just Instagram, Mikey Bharj, and on YouTube, Mikey Bharj. I'm also dropping tutorials on how to make movies and stuff, so God bless.
And obviously if you are watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe the Voices YouTube channel. So we're going to end it there. Thank you very much for watching or listening, and thank you very much, Mr. Mikey Bharj. Thank you for coming on, sir.
Thank you.
Take it easy.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Yay.